I'm Hannah Moore, CFP, a practicing financial planner and educator. I'm on a mission to change the way people think and talk about money. Let's get started. Today, I want to talk about this idea of budgeting versus being aware and conscious of where our spending is, and kind of how I view that as a financial planner. Now, we've had an episode before here on the podcast where we talk about how there are people who have to budget. So I just want to acknowledge that from the start of saying, like, there are a lot of people, in fact, I would say the majority of people in our country who are living paycheck to paycheck, who the consequences of them not budgeting are so severe that they have to. They have no other choice. They can't imagine a world where they don't have to budget. So that is a very real reality for a lot of people. Now, there's a lot of other people who are also in this situation where their life is just so busy, where they're just like, you know what, I don't know how to budget. I don't know what this looks like. And I need help. So I want to tell you, I run a financial planning firm where we work with clients from a host of different backgrounds, lots of different backgrounds. And it may surprise you to find out that many of the clients who walk through my doors that we work with don't know how much money they're spending. They don't have a clear idea of what their budget is. They don't have a budget to start with. They don't know how much money that they actually are spending. And it can get really, really overwhelming for them. And so one of the things that, anytime we can make things simple for people, I find that it's better, right? How can we simplify this? And so for some clients, especially busy people, and busy can be just busy in your professional life, like your career is taking off, you're in a high stress environment. It can be you're working multiple jobs. It can also be that you just have children, right? Love my children dearly, but they make my life really busy. And perhaps, some people love budgeting. Some people love looking at their personal finances. I was talking to somebody recently. They're like, I look at it 3 times a week. And I was like, that is so good for them and not good for other people, right? So knowing kind of where your balance is on this. But this idea of, budgeting versus this awareness, and how I kind of approach cash flow planning with clients. So you may know that we do the budgeting blocks, like we created the budgeting blocks for clients, which is really looking at the awareness of like where your money is going. Does your money, like where you spend money, is that aligned with the values that are most important to you? Because to me, at the end of the day, that is absolutely the most important piece, because those are the people who have the most joy in their finances, who have the most, that awareness is there for them. So that's kind of an awareness piece. But when I look at it from a planning standpoint, we want to simplify things as much as we can. And going through and creating a line item by line item budget for our clients to follow is not simplifying anything. We certainly have clients where this is a priority for them to learn to budget. One of my favorite stories was of a woman in her late 60s who she was spending, like when we ran her financial plan, she was spending too much money. And she took it seriously and she cut her spending significantly. And her plan works now. And she's in the later stages of her life. And she has options now because of health issues that she wouldn't have had before. She has those options now because she did that. So you might be in a situation where you need to really get a hold of your budgeting and your finances. There are plenty of other situations where it's, you know what? You do make this income. Yes. And you get to choose how you want to, you can pay for convenience of not having to do your budget. So how I view this as a financial planner is we have 2 different kind of phases of life. Now, it's not exactly this simple, but just in concept, we have what we call an accumulation phase and a decumulation phase. So basically, I'm saying that, through your working years, you are making money, you're spending money, but you're also hopefully saving and investing money, and you're accumulating wealth. Now, that can also be you have a mortgage on your home, but you're and you have a mortgage. And so every month you're paying a little bit off on your home, which is accumulating value for you, right? So we're in this place where we generally see your net worth statement of how much money you have going up over time, right? You're in that accumulation phase. Versus this decumulation phase is usually when people decide to stop working and say, okay, we're not going to be working anymore. What is this going to look like? And and they're pulling money out of their investments. They're no longer saving. It's just like the opposite, right? You're taking advantage of all the money that you've saved. And so we view those as two different things. So for a lot of my accumulator clients, what we're looking at is, yes, how much money are you spending every month, right? And those are going to be numbers that we care about. But when we look at how do we simplify this, right? Because we don't want to be, if I had a, I do track, we do have a tracking system for our budgets. But the most important number for me for accumulators is how much are you saving? That's at the end of the day, that's the number that I care about the most for my accumulator clients. It's going to say, okay, we said that you're going to be maxing out your 401k. Are you maxing out your 401k? Okay, good. And then it's going to say, okay, well, you need to be saving X number of dollars here or there. And then we track it and say like, hey, are we doing that or not? And again, life happens. Certainly, we just recorded a podcast about life happening for my husband and I, where, we're saving our base amount, but we're not saving like our ambitious goal because we have all these life expenses that are coming right now this year for us. And so we're, totally appreciate that. But we're really looking at on this accumulator side is, are you saving the amount? So we know what your income is. You usually can pull that from your tax return. We know what your income is. And then we say, okay, what are you saving? And then does that align? And that's really the bottom line numbers that we look at from a financial planning standpoint is does that line up? Are we saving and investing money aligned with your income and kind of what our plan says, because those are the inputs that are going to make a difference for your financial plan. Not so much, are you spending an extra $500 on groceries or $250 on eating out? Like that's going to kind of work itself out. It's that savings number that's going to be the key number. So figuring out what that can look like for you. Now, one just really quick tip is if you guys are working for somebody or even if you're working for yourself, when you get a raise or a bonus or extra money, just put half of that towards saving or investing. It's going to help tremendously. The impact of that over long term is it's just crazy what that can do. And you haven't even with those raises, you haven't adjusted to your lifestyle. So it can be a really easy way to bump up that savings number without it being painful to do that. So the other side of it, just again, from a financial planning standpoint, I find this stuff super interesting. So I hope you do, if you've tuned in this long, is on the decumulation phase. And for me, what's most important on the decumulation phase is how much money are we pulling out of your investments every month or every year? We look at that on an annual basis. It's what we call the withdrawal rate. So we have a contribution rate and a withdrawal rate. And those are going to be the key numbers that we're looking at is how much money are we actually pulling down from your portfolio in order for you to maintain your lifestyle right now. And so the more that we do that and the more we look at that, that's going to be the key pieces for me that we look at. And so again, for all of my retired clients, it's something that every single meeting, those are the key numbers. Those are the every single meeting we're reviewing those numbers of saying how much are we actually pulling out from your portfolio and how does that align, right? And there's lots of different kind of theories and methods around how much can you pull out? How do you pull that money out? There's a lot that goes into that, but those are the important numbers. So as you're thinking about your finances, you're getting perhaps overwhelmed by the idea of budgeting or managing your money or whatever this may look like for you, know that if you're going to try to make it the simplest way possible, it's look at, okay, how much money do we need to be saving/investing and start there. Have that be your starting point, because if you start there and you get that piece right, everything else will fall in line. And it's one of the simplest ways to really make sure that your financial plan is in order. Same if you're in a retired or you're thinking about retiring or, whatever that may look like for you in your situation. But good luck as you guys navigate this. Focus on your savings rate. Focus on your investing rate. And that's where that is, if I can have you focus on one thing, that's the one thing I would have you focus on. Thanks for listening to this episode of Everyday Money with Hannah Moore. If you like what you heard, subscribe and check out livewealthynow.com. We have a lot more resources to help you live wealthy now.